So let's switch over. There we go. Okay, so the game I'm reviewing this week is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Let's get that mouse out of the screen there. This game is developed by Game Freak. The developers of the Pokemon series.
Yes, I ever played Pokemon.
It was released on January the 28th, 2022. So very recently. I played it on the Switch, and it is only available on the Switch as Game Freak is a first party. Now,
what?
There's something I want to I want to point out just right off the bat about this, and I think that Game Freak being kind of independently run first party of Nintendo is a problem. I think that Nintendo needs to step in and help them out. Now, that being said, this game's really good.
Fuck yeah.
So let's get into that. What did I like about the game? It is just like pure dopamine drip constantly. Like it is like the definition of like that addicting, awesome, like Pokemon collection game that we've always wanted since the inception of Pokemon. It does that very well. A lot of times I criticize open world games, and I was very hesitant about this because everyone's saying, "Oh, it's the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon and this and that."
I say.
I wouldn't call this an open world game at all.
Oh wow!
It's a very linear storyline.
Oh what?
It's also like there's not an open world. There's open areas. There's open world areas, but each area you have to travel to from your main town. You can't go to other areas, like other regions from, like you can't go from one region to another is what I'm trying to say here. So like you have to go back to town to be able to go to a different region. Also, those regions unlock gradually as you go through the story. So it's not like you can start out and jump right to the end of the game, like you could in
like Breath
of the Wild. Yeah. It's also, similar to like a traditional Zelda game. There's places and things that you cannot do until you unlock special abilities or gain access to, certain items.
That's like traditional Pokemon too, though.
Yes,
all that,
which is good.
I like that.
The battle system, as you can see right now, I'm doing a battle. You can run around, which is cool. This is the first time we've been able to do this. Like it feels way more like you're actually JRPG battling your Pokemon. Even more like what I imagine a real Pokemon battle would be like, right? Though not quite in real time. It doesn't feel as turn-based. You can also see like your attack order. Like if you pay attention to the background gameplay, there's it shows your attack order up in the top right, and you can actually change that attack order by doing either like a agile or a aggressive version of that move, which you unlock by mastering those moves. So like we've added new elements to the battle system, which makes it more interesting and more dynamic. What else do I like about this game? There's so many things I could list that I like about this game.
Do so, please.
For real though, like
we need it.
This is helping.
It is helping.
Yeah. There's a lot. In fact, it's easier for me to list things that I don't like because there's very few things that I don't like.
As far as training your Pokemon is concerned, how does that work exactly?
Yeah,
like exactly like before. That's what
very
I'm
similar
about.
To before. Very similar to before. Now, when it comes to like, I don't know which one's EV and which one's IV.
IV is like independent
intrinsic
value. They're just born. Yeah, they're just born
intrinsic
with additional
values.
Stats.
Okay.
And EV is the ones you can add to.
Okay. So I don't think IVs. To my knowledge, I don't think IVs exist in this game.
I like that they not exist. Honestly.
Yeah. EVs, on the other hand, you can train up just using items. that are pretty easy to acquire.
Like this gives you more power, etc.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that. That's cool,
so they're pretty easy to acquire, and you can max them out. I think they go up to 10.
Held items and all that.
You know what? I don't think there's held items. At least I haven't messed with them.
I'm okay with that. It's one less thing to worry about.
I agree. I think it's an unnecessary addition. What was the question?
Do they evolve still?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I had to make sure. Not of course. I don't know. I haven't seen.
Pokemon still evolve. Another thing that I like, and you can see it in the background gameplay right now. There is something called
Rapidash.
You've got alpha Pokemon, right? And these alpha Pokemon will be stronger and larger and more aggressive versions of the Pokemon.
You don't have to fight them necessarily.
You don't have to fight them. But you can.
Fucked if you encounter by accident.
No, you can run away from like any battle. Any battle that's not scripted, you can run away from easily. Though you can die outside of battle, and that's something to be concerned about because you'll lose certain items, which can only be gained back if someone else playing the game finds your satchel and returns it.
What do you mean someone else?
Okay, so this is a cool system, and this is how it works.
Is this online?
Semi-online, yeah.
What?
So this is how it works. Essentially, and I it's not something it really tells you, or at least I don't remember it telling you about, but I noticed that there was little satchels that I could find, and they're marked on your map, and you can pick them up all over the world, and then you have the option to return that satchel to that person. And I was like, okay, and it gives you like a rating for that, and that's cool. But I didn't really know what it did until I started dying and I started losing items. And I tabbed over to, on the satchel screen, it shows my satchels that are out there. Now, if you're playing online, other people will see your satchel and they can find it, and it returns those lost items to you.
Oh, it's so cool.
Which is really cool.
And you basically do that to people just out of good faith.
Yeah.
Like, is that it though? Like, are you just at the mercy of?
It's basically if you're an inconvenient
good of the internet, because that
like,
seems real bad.
If it's like right there on the battlefield, though, someone might just be like, "Oh yeah, why not?"
They're all over. First of all, you don't lose your entire satchel ever. It's just a select number of items. And secondly, secondly,
so many items.
It marks where your satchel is on other people's maps. And so like they'll see satchels in the wild and go just pick them up.
Okay. Yeah, why not? So you do get something? Okay.
Yeah. So so that's cool. I think that's another pretty cool change to the formula. What are some other really cool things? So with alpha Pokemon I was telling you about, it's usually in evolved form, but not always. It's always more powerful. It's always larger and more difficult. And yeah, you can catch them or you could avoid them. They're definitely optional. There's also boss battles that you fight without Pokemon. Let me see. It's kind of cool.
What?
I really want to see that.
Yeah, let me see if I can find. I want
to understand why also.
I did do a boss battle.
Why would you fight a Pokemon with your fists and a gun?
Okay, you don't use your fists and a gun.
A sword.
Okay, so I've got a boss.
That's why they called it Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I've got a boss battle going right here. So
which of course makes for great radio. We apologize for those of you watching or listening to this on the eventual, audio recording.
Well, I'm going to explain what's happening. So I'm going to explain what's happening, so we don't have to worry about audio listeners. So what a boss battle consists of is you're in an arena with a Pokemon that's like enraged, and they'll be glowing gold, right? Oh boy, and instead of fighting them with your Pokemon, you have to throw these bombs at them to calm them down. And then once you like hit a certain level, there's certain things you can do to stun them. That will allow you to then send your Pokemon into battle to stun them more. And then you can throw bombs and whatnot. And you're basically just working down their health bar. And then once you've got it completely calmed down.
So it sounds to me like Josh wasn't too far off with his postulation that you're fighting them with a sword. You're throwing explosives at
No, balms.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering if anyone would wonder that.
BALMS.
And that's why
I knew you meant that. I knew you meant that.
I knew what you meant, but like,
I actually innately was like, I wonder if people are gonna wonder if he's saying bombs.
Yeah. No, I'm deliberately playing dumb here.
We're on a plane. Calm down, guys.
Anyway, so there's I think 6 of these boss battles, and at least one of them is replayable. I actually like, it seemed silly at first, like when I first heard about these before playing the game, but it's actually pretty fun. It's actually very fun, and it's a pleasant change. Awesome. We've been going on about this forever. I could probably continue listing things that I love about this game, but we need to move on with the review. So let's get on to the things that I don't like. The graphics. The graphics are not good.
Oh no!
They're not the worst.
Good, straight up.
They're not. I mean, you can see the gameplay. Like they're fine, but they're not up to snuff, even with other Nintendo games. Yeah, but like we're way past the GameCube. You know,
it's like the 3DS.
Yeah, it's like the.
Actually does going down and down and down.
And that kind of that brings me back to what I was saying about how I think it's time that Nintendo steps in.
Yeah, we need Nintendo's hand on the wheel.
Yeah, because first party Nintendo makes amazingly beautiful games. Say what you will about Breath of the Wild. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
So is Mario Odyssey, right? It's amazing. It runs at 60 frames per second, and it looks incredible. Bowser's Fury looks incredible. These games are beautiful, and Nintendo really knows how to maximize the system. Yeah. Now, on the flip side of that, I really think that, and I've been saying this, I've said it many times on the podcast, I think that Game Freak doesn't know how to, make next gen games or even current gen games. I think they've always been 1 to 2 generations behind, and if you've ever played any of their other games, you'll
Arceus? What the fuck?
No, this is not Arceus.
I'm seeing what Pokemon did you just use? That was insane.
That wasn't Arceus.
Palkia?
It may have been Palkia. This is Endgame, so this is after
I didn't know it was that crazy. Okay.
Yeah, this game's rad.
Dang.
So cool. Anyway, another thing that I wouldn't say I don't like, but I think some people will be disappointed with this. I'm certainly not, but I do think it's worth mentioning that there really isn't any PvP in this game. There certainly are other trainer battles, but I can't battle my friends.
Wait, how are there trainer battles?
There's plenty of other people that have Pokemon.
That's what I was told. There were like no other trainers in the game.
Oh no, there's other trainers in the game.
There's
plenty other. No, but the gyms. Here's the thing. Here's the thing on the gym thing. Considering the story and what you're doing in this game, the lack of gym battles totally makes sense, and I didn't miss them at all. Okay. And there's plenty of boss battles and trainer battles that kind of would replace those gym battles. So don't worry about that. Anyway, let's continue. I'm also going to jump because I was stuck on this boss. This is like a boss that you replay in the end game. So I'm actually going to go back in my footage here. Moving on. What did I like about the game? How was the story? The story is really good. Okay. This is probably the best Pokemon story in a long time. Since my favorite Pokemon story is the Black and White 2 story, I think is a really exceptional story for a Pokemon game that's slept on. This is the next best thing. It also
next best?
Yes. So it's not cheesy, it's not campy, it's not like it doesn't feel like super kiddie like a lot of the recent Pokemon games do. It's a very competent and well-written story with well-written characters. It's about basically the formation of the first ever Pokedex. And that's your goal in this game is to basically write the Pokedex, which is a lot of fun.
Which is your goal in every game.
Well, not really.
But also
the original
in Red and Blue, that's like Oak introduces that as I've invented the Pokedex.
He invents the Pokedex.
How is this? How does that work?
Yeah, Oak invents it.
Well, okay, so this takes place way before that. We've gone back in time. It's also potentially an alternate reality.
Well,
so
I wonder if they just had a Pokedex and it was lost to time.
Sure, fair, and that's possible. That's possible. There's a lot of inconsistencies in like the overall Pokemon timeline if you're gonna look at it like that. And I think that this is, obviously like people knew what Pokemon were before Red and Blue within that continuity, right? Yeah. And they were training Pokemon before Red and Blue within that continuity. In this game, you're like the first Pokemon trainers, right? Wow. So, and you're the first people collecting any data on Pokemon.
These animals,
yeah,
they can fight for us.
It's much more nuanced than that, but yes.
Is it? Okay, good. I'm glad it is because I was worried about that a little too.
The story's very engaging, and then all the way through to the end, and then there's an extensive end game. All the footage that is playing behind us right now is in the end game. And I've been playing that. There's like even more story than goes beyond the original, main story, right? Mm-hmm. So that's very cool. The gameplay's excellent. One of the things that you might see in the footage is my use of ride Pokemon, which is really fun, and it's seamless. And you can can change between, not only can you change from like walking to riding on a Pokemon, but you can change between your different ride Pokemon seamlessly as well, which is really cool. And they have pretty cool abilities. So yeah, it's very well done in that aspect of it. How was the art? The art is one of those things that like I think in spirit it's good, but in execution it's bad, right? You can see in my footage that there's a lot of low res textures, a lot of pop in, a lot of things like that, and this is what I'm talking about when I say that Game Freak needs to step up their game a little bit. The music is excellent. It's your classic Pokemon music with kind of like an old Japanese kind of folk music twist to it. Adam mentioned in the comments that you don't think of graphics as art, and I agree, but I think that the art suffers because of the graphics in this case.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like the depictions are great, but the execution of it because of the graphics suffer.
Yes. Okay. Sound design is good. Though, I think there's two camps for this. There's the camp that likes the old school Pokemon, like they sound like animals and you hear their different cries and stuff. And then you've got the people who want the Pokemon to say their names like they do in the show.
Oh yeah, what do they do here?
They don't say their names like they do in the show. They've got it's more old school, which I actually like better. I like that they sound like animals.
I agree.
That
would be weird. Cool. If like Pikachu, I was like,
and then all the other sounds are good. You've got your item throwing sounds and your cool sounds for your attacks, and they're all very reminiscent of the classic Pokemon games as well. So that's good. How long did it take me? So earlier today I looked at my play time and I was at about what was it? Did I say 39 hours earlier? So and that was after I had done some extensive work in the end game. So I would say the main game probably takes about 30 hours to complete.
That's good.
Give or take. And then there, like I said, the end game is extensive. So you're going to I've already put another at least 10 hours in after that 30, maybe 12. And I've still got a long way to go. So there's plenty of game here. There's plenty of bang for your buck. Let's see. Was the game? Was the game difficult? Very. This is the most difficult Pokemon game.
Very difficult. Dark Souls difficult?
No, not Dark Souls difficult. I say very for a Pokemon game. Okay, so for a Pokemon game, it is very difficult. Especially compared to a lot of the more recent entries in the series, where everything levels up really fast. You don't seem to take a lot of damage, things like that. This game is way more balanced. And even though, like in a battle, all of your Pokemon will gain experience, it doesn't feel like you're just like flying to level 100 without anything stopping you. In the late game, 10 levels doesn't make that much of a difference. Like I was struggling earlier today with a battle against Giratina. And my Pokemon were all anywhere from 3 to 10 levels higher than this Pokemon, and it was whipping my ass.
Damn.
So it is, obviously levels do make a difference, but in the late game, they make much less of a difference than they do in your traditional Pokemon games.
You can't throw out multiple Pokemon?
You can only ever use one Pokemon. You do fight against multiple Pokemon very often, but there's never a battle where I had more than one Pokemon on the field.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
That would have been cool, but I don't think it's necessary. And I'm sure they'll probably expand into that. If they continue to do these Legends games, I'm sure those are areas they'll expand into.
I do have a question on the leveling thing.
Yeah.
Are you still handcuffed to the bait and switch tactic if you want to level something?
No.
Thank goodness.
No.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you haven't been handcuffed to that for a very long time, but that's also actually...
I also haven't played a Pokemon game in a long time.
Wait, what bait and switch tactic?
So what he's saying is, essentially, if you've got a low-level Pokemon and you're in the end game and you want to level it quickly, you put him in the front of your team, and the second a battle starts, you switch out with a stronger Pokemon.
Does that work? Or everyone's an even spread of it?
It works in the old games, certainly, but that hasn't been something you've had to do in a Pokemon game for a long time. So
the most recent Pokemon game, I think, was for the DS that I played.
Remember Experience All, the item?
Yeah. Right. So that's
I'm
automatically...
so glad that's not a thing now.
Well, it is, but it's not an item, but in every battle, all of your Pokemon, as long as they survive that battle, will gain experience. But I'm telling you, it doesn't feel anywhere close to as OP as it does in previous games. This is the hardest Pokemon game I've played. So even with that mechanic, it's still a very difficult game. So for a Pokemon game, that is. Anyway, would I play a sequel? Abso-freaking-lutely. I highly recommend this game. If you're a fan of the series, if you're a fan of particularly like searching for Pokemon and catching Pokemon and all that stuff, this is for you. It's an excellent adventure. If you're in it just for PvP, like competitive battling, this ain't it. This is not the game. All right, because there is no competitive battling. There's battling in the game, but
you can't. Still trainer battling.
There's still trainers that you battle. Yeah,
and they're tough. You're saying.
Very. Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool. I like that a lot.
Especially late game and end game. Very tough. Awesome. So, yeah. Anywho, would I play a sequel? Yes, absolutely. Overall rating and impression. This is complicated, right? Because from a gameplay level, I'd say this is drawing close to a 10, right?
Damn.
From an aesthetic level, and also lacking, multiplayer functionality and things like that, we've got to take some points off. And it's got to be a significant chunk because, I think that, those are big things.
Especially if this is the Pokemon mainline going forward.
Yeah. Because it's especially if this is the mainline
game, basically.
Yes.
This is basically the red and blue of this.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give it a lower score than you might expect from my enthusiasm from this game. I'm going to give this game an 8.3, which I think is still a pretty high score. Because I was considering giving this game somewhere in the 7s, but I think that the gameplay and the addictiveness and everything, it deserves it makes
now,
up
I must
for that.
ask, if we remove the graphics and the no multiplayer, what is the score of this game actually?
Oh man, if this looked
don't do art or graphics or multiplayer.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, so if this game looked like a game like the other first party games that we've seen on this console, and if it had a few more of those elements that it's missing from its predecessors, such as competitive battling, this would be probably like I don't give games 10s, right? So I would say this is probably like a 9.8. If it had those things.
I'm probably gonna think it's a 9.8 because I don't care about graphics at all.
Okay, yeah, you might. Yeah, it's
it's like doggy doo-doo and hand it off to my niece.
I'll play Ocarina at time and say this looks great. So
sure, and that's fine.
This might look amazing.
So here's the thing. Yeah, this game way exceeded my expectations. Like far exceeded my expectations. It's a lot of fun. I haven't had this much fun in a video game in a very long time, and it's just like pure fun. It's not like when I'm playing like a Souls game and I'm like kind of hate myself for doing it. Like this is just like pure unadulterated fun.
I know, that's what Pokemon Snap was.
Yes, it was.
There's also these zones that appear randomly, like these big time space distortions, where you can fight Pokemon that don't normally appear in that world and are maybe more difficult. They're much more aggressive, so you're actually at a fairly high risk of dying when you're in these dimensions. But that's also something that's really cool and exciting when those pop up, because you can find cool Pokemon and things like that. Another thing I forgot to mention is like the more Pokemon you catch and the more data you collect on these Pokemon, the higher your rank becomes. And that's how you gain access to additional items, like the ability to use more enhanced balls and things like that. So, like it gives you a lot of reasons to continue collecting and expanding that Pokedex. So it's very cool. Anyway, let's wrap up the review. Like I said, this is a solid 8.3, and it would be much higher if Game Freak got their shit together. But I can't get in good conscience give it a higher score than that. So anyway,
but I mean that still puts it on par with like Arkham stuff that we've talked about. I mean,
according to Paul, it puts it on par with Dread.
No,
I gave Dread like a 8.8 or something, 8.9.
I gave it
pretty close.
I threatened to give this game like a 7.5.
Pretty close to an 8.6. 8.3 and 8.6 are right there.
In our rating scale, I don't think it is, because we tend to scale things up pretty high. But anyway,
this is why I gave it a 9.8. I think.
Like I'm going to do a spreadsheet project with all our rankings that we have.
I think that's a good idea.
Right? My rank is the highest for sure.
Review, I can say, okay, so you're putting that on par with X.
Sure. Yeah,
okay,
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
anyway, let's end this review. Let's switch back. We'll get into our topic.
I might be
spent a lot of time in this review. Yeah,
not sure if I'm gonna get it.
I think you would love this game. I really do.
Now I have to.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, all right, let's switch back. Shrink.